Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Good afternoon and welcome to Love and Relationship. My name is Ndun Indun. I will be sharing with you some wisdom keys about love and relationship. Stay tuned. Listeners, welcome to Love and Relationship. Today we will be talking about something very interesting. We are talking about overcoming abuse in a relationship. And I'm here in the studio with lovely guests, wonderful people, anointed, and people who have the understanding to share this with me. So I'm here in the studio with Reverend Shade Fasedemi. I think so. I think I've pronounced it well.
Yes,
welcome.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Thank you very much.
It's an honor.
I'm happy to have you. And I also have with me Pastor Salako. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's good to be here.
Wow, we are so happy to have you here. Today we want to discuss about this thing called abuse and how people can overcome abuse in their relationship. But I want to start with asking Reverend Shade, how will you define abuse in a relationship? Because you see, there are some things that are abuse, but people don't know they're abuse. And, some people don't even know when the abuse is starting. They only know when it has grown big and then they can't control it anymore. So in your own words, your own way, having been married for years and spoken to people, you're a counselor, what would you define as abuse?
Very simple, without going too psychological for the everyday man to be able to understand. I will define abuse as simply applying the wrong use of a purpose.
Okay, interesting.
So if we're talking about abuse in marriage for me starts by saying, how are you applying this marriage for the wrong purpose?
Okay.
So it can be quite wide and multidimensional. Unfortunately, I'm not going to just stick with what is the traditional definition of abuse, which is when people think abuse, then they're thinking something horrendous. But it can be as subtle as a simple misapplication of what a relationship is supposed to represent to being as far and wide as the outright physical and just the unthinkable and unimaginable abuse or the traditional word abuse.
Wow. So you're saying that abuse we can even call a situation where a man marries a woman he doesn't love, but for a selfish reason. Can that still be classified as
that
abuse?
Is already abuse in the making.
Yes.
Because it's set up for frustration and eventually frustration leads to so many other things. So from the onset, a man not even knowing the reason why he needs to marry another woman, or a woman not knowing the right reasons for which she needs to marry a husband, has already set that spouse up for abuse.
That is very interesting. Pastor Salako, what will you say in your own definition of abuse?
Like Reverend Shade just said, abuse is the wrong use
of things,
of things, not understanding the purpose of a thing, and breaking it down to everyday experiences. I would say abuse is an unhealthy relationship.
Wow.
Between maybe marital context, we are talking about marriage now. Anything that is not healthy, it's abusive. Because a healthy relationship, marriage is supposed to be a symbiotic relationship, not a parasitic one. marriage is not a master-slave relationship. It's a partnership for a bigger picture, fulfilling God's purpose. So once that is not there, once the unhealthy behavior begins to spring up, then we begin to have abuse. And the foundation of unhealthy behavior is not understanding the purpose of a thing.
That's
because
true.
If we don't understand the purpose of a thing, we are going to abuse
it. Yeah, and it becomes a problem when you have people marrying for the wrong reasons. They already set up themselves, like you said, for abuse. You know, you're looking at the man as an ATM. You're looking for somebody to take money from. You know, that's a kind of abuse too, because maybe the man expects or thinks you love him, you know, and that's a problem. So now, you know, some men, after a while, they discover that you don't really love them. You want their money. Now their abuse begin to manifest in a bigger form, you know, and all that. So, you know, I was chatting to my wife recently, and I said to her, one of the things I've discovered is that people who become victims in relationships, you know, somehow most of them are not really innocent of, you know, the drama that is unfolding in the relationship. Because you see, especially when it comes to marriage, I'm talking about marriage now precisely, you had to make a choice. Especially when you said you love this person, you choose to give your love. You choose to, you know, say those vows. You choose to make those things. So you know, the challenge is that when a person's mindset is not renewed, is not in the right place, we make wrong choices that makes us victims. But that doesn't mean that we are totally innocent, because some of the people, okay, like for an example, a woman has two suitors. One is very rich, and the other one really cares about her but doesn't have the money she needs. And she chooses to marry the one who's rich but doesn't know the character of that one, and that one begins to abuse her. You know, now she's a victim. But the thing is that it was her choice. So we need to really speak to people that before you can become a victim, make sure you made the right choice, because it's in our hands to choose. So that's why I said some people are not totally innocent, because it's a choice that you make. So what you need to do is take responsibility. Oh, I made the wrong choice, and you can make a U-turn. You know, I was just thinking about this, and let me just continue with you. What will you think causes abuse in a relationship? Because, you know, there are some relationships that start well. It starts like it's good, but like we're saying, maybe the foundation is not right. But what do you think are the common things that people should avoid, or the common things that stir up abuse?
Okay. Look, let's just get started with the fact that we're in a relationship.
Okay.
Which means a relationship is between two different people.
Yes.
Okay. So each individual will be influenced by their history, their past. So at some point in time, if you're a man, a relationship of being modeled to as by another man, another father, another husband has been given to you. So you've seen it modeled. So there's a likelihood you'll be replicating what was modeled to you in the previous experiences. So that's,
I saw like the link you sent me. I was listening to it.
To the link, and it's very interesting that many issues can lead to abuse. However, let's start from the foundation of marriage.
Okay.
Marriage is, or in a relationship, is two people choosing to walk together. So whether they're walking together in a marriage or it's before a marriage, but they've agreed that they're going to be dedicated to one another one way or the other, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you're in a relationship, you now have to get ready for the goods, the good, the pros, and the cons. The pros is when things are moving, communication is great, we have a lovely relationship. It's healthy. But the cons is that in every relationship, because the two individuals are not perfect, we're going to rub one another off the wrong way. So there's going to be a lot of frustration that will come in to that relationship by virtue of it just being a relationship. Nothing complicated, whether you made the right choice or the wrong choice
okay.
or not. You are still going to have to deal with different issues in different relationships. Now, taking it a little further now is to say, how do you deal with these issues when they show up? Okay. Now, that is where the abuse starts to creep in. Because depending on the individual, you now start to not understand the reason why you're in that relationship. So obviously abuse can set in, and it's multidimensional, as I have discovered, because usually people cap abuse in a format, but it's not just one format. Abuse can come out from a verbal perspective, in between two people who don't know how to respect each other, and who don't know how to agree to disagree. Then you can get the emotional and the psychological abuse, where one person uses their upper hand against the other. So someone who has control will use that control to abuse the other person. So it could be that a woman who has control because she understands how to manipulate the husband, she starts to use that manipulative upper hand against the man. Or it could be a man who's dominant in character, who now knows how to use that character to abuse the other person. What it strictly means is abuse shows up when two sets of people say, we don't agree. However, I am going to use my control, my ability to achieve what I want from you. So if I can't get it from you agreeably, I will get it from you.
Either by manipulation or by force.
Or by manipulation.
Yeah. So,
and that's where the abuse creeps in. And people now stop. They start pushing the boundary. And it never starts in a hectic manner. And that's where sometimes it looks like you are guilty because you made the wrong choice. But whether you made the wrong choice or not, there are always times in life when we're going to learn how to know someone better. Learn how to have wiser wisdom in how to choose better. But once we've chosen and we're in that relationship, abuse is not justifiable. Whether I made a wrong choice or not,
it's true.
Whether I made the mistake or not, it's not appropriate for the person with the upper hand to abuse the other party.
Okay. Pastor, what will you say to that? I've picked two things you've said, and I will summarize them through.
I want to say abuse comes out of not understanding the purpose of a thing, like we said in the beginning. And it's very vital for everybody to understand who they are and their role in the relationship. Because some have a mindset. The mindset you take into the relationship will determine your behavior. Like she said, modeling. Maybe the way a man sees his father dominate his mother. He has taken that to be the norm. And he gets into the relationship with this young girl. And because the young girl is from another generation, what his mother took from the dad, the wife couldn't take it. And the reason for that is because people don't understand the foundation of marriage. Marriage is an institution made by God, and for us to understand marriage, we need to go back to the scripture. Number one thing that we need to understand for us not to go into abusive relationship in our marriages is to first understand that God has called us as individuals, and in the eyes of God we are one. In Genesis chapter 5, he said God called them Adam. He called them Adam. So in the eyes of God, there's no male or female.
Okay.
And there's no one that is, maybe this one is superior
to anyone
in nature.
Wow.
But it is in the role. We know that husband is the head of the wife in the responsibility and the role. Not that the husband is superior to the wife.
That's a very powerful point, Pastor. Sorry to cut you there. We will go on a short break. We will be back and we will get more explanation, because I think that will really fall into how to overcome this abuse. You've already started the next question I wanted to ask, which is knowing who you are and your roles. So friends, stay right there. We will be back.
Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
Have you ever thought about the power of social media? Social media has the power to make your business grow. Grow! Yeah. Why don't you let us manage your social media? Because our business is to see your business grow. Visit us at www.beastownmedia.co.za.
Welcome back to Love and Relationship. For those listening, we're still talking about overcoming abuse in a relationship. We've been continuing for those on Facebook. Let me continue with Pastor Salako.
Like you're saying, how do we know when we get into abuse zone in our relationship? We begin to know any action that we take that infringes on other people's right.
Right, okay.
Becomes an abuse. So that means we need to understand that even though we are in marriage, we are individuals and we still have our right. And we have... Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Okay, can I ask you one question? When you say anything that infringes in other people's rights, like this is an example I want to paint. A man wants sex from his wife.
Yes.
He feels he has a right to the sex.
Yes.
And his wife says, no, I'm not giving you.
Which is against her will, which means he's crossing her boundaries.
Okay.
She's trying to communicate her boundaries, whether she's communicated it right, appropriately, or not.
That's another
She's
question.
trying to communicate boundaries. Now, once those the boundaries have been communicated, which means she is willing or she is not willing. He now stoops to forcefully or manipulatively getting what he wants from her against her will.
Okay.
Now you're in full-blown abuse
against her right. So now being infringing on people's right is trying to take something against the person's will. Okay, because I like these definitions in a way that people can understand and practically apply. Okay, I wasn't willing for this and he forced me, so that's a kind of abuse, those kind. Please continue what you were saying. I just wanted to
like what she said is very important. Even God gives us a choice.
Yes.
And God doesn't infringe on our power to choose. God allows us to choose. He said, I give before you
life and death.
Choose life. Although he tells us what to choose. But when we say no, he doesn't say, I'm the Almighty God, I'm going to crush you. Or say, I'm not going to talk to you. Or begin to give you cold shoulder because you didn't get what you wanted. So we need to understand that in a relationship, we need to respect people's right and feelings and will. And when we do that, we are not going to abuse them. Each other, because this abuse is satanic in nature. It's Satan that forces. It's Satan that drives. God leads, because there's a difference between driving and leading. God
and even
leads
ruling.
us.
Some people rule over.
Okay. It's a symptom of a man
and God gives us dominion, but not over people.
Not over people. Yes,
He gives us dominion over creation. And so once God says you can choose, who am I now to take the right from another person from being able to choose?
So is it possible that we can say that if someone is in a relationship where he or she is not free, that there might be some kind of abuse going on there?
Oh yes. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of time before that abuse starts from being very subtle till it becomes full blown. It starts subtly with the raising of the voice, and then after that it starts to get physical. After that it starts to get very forceful, okay, to an outright beating people up, or talking down at people, berating your spouse, or even your child, you know, to a point where you have taken away somebody else's sense of freedom
and dignity
and you now create a world around them where they have to protect themselves with a code of, say, secrecy, because now it's so unhealthy. You can't expose this to the rest of your family, to the rest of your friends. This person is slowly and surely losing their will to choose, handing over that power to you
to choose for them,
against their will, or they are stooping to your manipulative methods because they are exhausted, because men do that a lot. Men are tired of the women's manipulation, so they just agree and say yes and say yes and say yes for peace, and then one day they are gone, or one day they choose another woman, and no one understands how did they get there. It was the constant beragging and abuse of manipulation, day in, day out. So when it starts to get full blown, that's the only time now when it comes out to look inappropriate, because now in a marriage a woman wants to divorce her husband, and everybody says, but he's been good to you, he's been buying you Gucci bags, he's been buying, he bought you a house,
that's when they know that things were not going well.
Okay. No, but the car was bought after beating me up and cracking all my bones to say sorry.
Okay, we will continue with that, but because of time I want us to talk about how to overcome this abuse. You know, we just have some few minutes left, because now we have tried to give our listeners and viewers what abuse is. Lack of freedom, you know, your right is taken away from you, you don't have will. Now they're asking, so how do I get help? So, you know, there was a point you started to make about knowing who we are and all that. So that's also in line with, you know, being free from abuse. You know, before you say something, I remember the story of Leah. And, you know, Leah and Jacob and all that. Rachel. You know, for me, that story came to me. I was thinking in my heart, what kind of story do I have about abuse like this? And that story came to my heart. I believe when the Bible says Jacob hated Leah, I believe she was abused.
Yeah.
She was abused because God saw that this woman was abused and chose to fight for her and shut the womb of Rachel and open Leah's womb. So God hates abuse. Listeners and viewers, if you are abusive, God might fight you. He doesn't like abuse. He can turn things around in favor of who you are abusing, and he will leave you where you are. So abuse is not good. I just wanted to make that point. So how do people overcome this abuse?
To overcome the abuse, you need to speak out.
Yes.
Okay. You need to break the code of silence. Because the devil only operates where there is silence. You need to seek for help. We must not sit silent in an abusive relationship, because it can turn deadly.
It's true.
And anything we keep silent about, we are feeding to grow. So when we speak out, when we break that cycle of silence, we cut off the head of that serpent or demon that is there. So you need to know who to speak to and seek for help
professionally as well.
Yes.
And spiritually, and whatever. People that you can trust, people that you know can give you the right guideline. And another thing is, if you are in a very, very tense, abusive relationship, please move out.
Give some space.
Give some space before.
Especially the one that is physically.
It's
terrible.
It's terrible. Don't stay there, because it might be too late for you. So if you are listening to me, you are in a physical abusive relationship, the first thing is give space and seek for help.
Wow,
it's better to be alive than to die in an abusive relationship.
Wow. Reverend, what will you add to that?
Well, I agree very much with Pastor Salako. You need to seek help. You need to also consider that the person who is the perpetrator needs help. So your silence, breaking the code of silence, is not just to sort yourself out, but it's also to make sure that person has a light upon them that will create a solution. So whether it is they are also surrounded by people who love them enough to help them get help, and then specifically when you've got children involved, do not keep staying, because now you are creating a second generation of people who will be both abusive and be open to be abused. Because whenever you witnessed or you have seen abuse being modeled, you are just going to perpetuate it.
The same thing.
So you are going to either allow it to happen to you, or you are going to be the monster who is now abusing in your relationships. Now, help needs to be sought, so you can seek help through church, going to your pastoral care and getting them to understand this is what I am going through. And if you see that pastoral care is not as effective, there's also psychological help as well out there. There are care groups out there, but you need to seek support.
Seek help. Wow.
So practically, I've been told, especially women, don't just get up and run out. Get up knowing you are going to need income coming from somewhere. You are going to need your paperwork, like your passports, your ID, your driver's license, your certificates, the children's birth certificate, all the things that allow you to get a restart and a refresh for your life.
Wow, thank you so much. Because of time, we will just wrap up here. I think we need a part 2 of this. And I just pray you people will open your calendar for us to continue, because people are watching, people are listening, and it's making impact in people's lives. Some people never knew what abuse is. Some people didn't even know what to do, but I think we're giving light to people. So listeners and viewers, we will be wrapping up here because of our time, and we will continue to have this love and relationship show. I pray that if possible they can come back next Monday and we could have a part 2, but they'll let me know their convenient time. But we will have another love and relationship episode next time, same time, Monday, 1 o'clock. Please tune in. And I want to thank my guests. Thank you very much, Pastor Salako, for coming. Thank you, Reverend Shade. I've learned a lot from you, even what you're saying. And we believe that our listeners and viewers will find help. Amen. And God will help them. And also pray for those who are abusing people, that God will help them to stop the abuse, because it does terrible terrible, terrible damage to people. So thank you very much for today, and I believe that we will have you again.
We thank God, and we look forward to the grace of the Lord to just cover those who are listening and who are hurting. Help is round the corner.
Amen.
Trust in God.
Amen.
He's led you to this not by coincidence and not by accident, but on purpose.
Amen.
There is help.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
This message was sponsored by friends and partners of Living as One events. You are invited to our singles and married couples event featuring seminars, talk shows, Q&A sessions, single mingles, couples games, and many more. You may visit our website for details of our events and register at www.livingasOneevents.com. You can also get our books on relationships titled Why Should I Get Married and Living as One. We also do counseling for couples and singles who want to make the right decisions regarding their relationships. For more info, please contact us on 078 255 4517 or email us at livingasoneevents@gmail.com. Please tune in again for another episode of Love and Relationship. God bless you.
Live from 27 Boxes in the heart of Melville, this is brandlive.co.za.